Hello everybody, this is Dave Dugdale, learningdslrvideo.com, and I listened to an excellent podcast yesterday when I was out for my hike. It was with Scott Kelby and Scott Bourne, two guys that I really respect in the photo industry. They're not really video guys, but they do a lot of photography. And they discussed color space. It was episode called PhotoFocus episode 53. And they talk about the difference between Adobe RGB 1998 and sRGB. The podcast is a Q&A type of podcast, and Scott Kelby answered this particular question. And here are some of the talking points that he talked about. If you're shooting a RAW, your camera basically ignores color space. He said it's applied later when you're using something like Lightroom or Aperture. Color space really only matters for JPEG and GIF. He didn't mention video, but I bet you that would be in there with it too, because video has all this information baked in, like color space and white balance and all that other stuff. Adobe RGB 1998 is the preferred color space for photographers. Basically, he said if you're going to shoot JPEGs, then shoot Adobe RGB 1998 because it's a wider color space. He said you can always switch to sRGB later and it'll throw out the extra data. But if you shoot in sRGB, you can't switch back the other way to add data back in. So why would you want to shoot in sRGB? Basically because he said that it's what the printing shops, when you get your photos printed, that's the color space they want it in. So if you're not printing your files and you're shooting only for the web, he said, like, shooting for the web like video, he said you want to stay in the sRGB space because that's the color space for the web. Also on my note, in the manual on page 96, it talks about Canon recommends that you shoot in sRGB. So basically what I want to do now is going to compare the two color spaces. Okay, and now I am in sRGB, and I ran into something interesting. I started creating this video thinking I was going to switch back and forth, and I went to behind the camera, and I went to go to the menu and change the color space. And I noticed it was not an option in the menu. I'm like, oh crap, this video is not going to be worth anything because I can't show the difference. But then I thought, let's test it anyway, because this is what I'm all about, testing. And I went to manual mode where I can select the color space, and it's set on sRGB. And so what I'm going to do right now is switch to the other one to see if there's any difference whatsoever. Okay, now I'm in Adobe RGB, and I can't tell the difference right now, but I'll have to wait until I edit this video to see if there's actually any difference, and I'll make a note at the end of the video if I saw a difference. So thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you guys later. Bye.